Moving on to number 2, COVID-19, discussion and action on measures to mitigate the impacts of COVID-19 pandemic.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So just a recap of city operations, where we are right now. So City Hall is open 5 days a week, normal operating hours 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Animal Services, Tuesday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. The Police Department lobby, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. with restrictions, and that no more than 3 members of the public are allowed in the lobby at one time, and fingerprinting is by appointment only. All other facilities continue to remain closed at this time. At this point, I'm going to ask that Community Services Director Brad McIntyre come up to provide an update related to parks, and then I will come back to discuss revised state guidance that's been issued for additional sectors.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I am happy to announce with council's approval that we will be starting to provide recreation programs contingent on hiring part-time staff within the month. Unfortunately, this does not include the senior center. I want to make sure that that is said. Certainly that is hopefully going to come soon, but I anticipate to be the last as far as it relates to our recreation programs, getting people back to the senior center. Staff will start immediately working on youth, adult programs, camps, and the aquatic complex. We encourage people that within the next week and a half to kind of look online, give us a call, and we'll be able to provide and promote our programs, which will be on social media and certainly our webpage. And thank you very much for giving us the ability to provide some recreation programs coming soon to a theater near you.
All right, in terms of state guidance, last Friday, the state issued guidance for the following personal care services: esthetician, skincare and cosmetology services, electrology services, nail salons, body art professionals, tattoo parlors, piercing shops, and massage services. And so those could go into effect as soon as this Friday. If Dr. Liu does what she's done in the past, she reviews the state guidance, determines if she needs to do an amendment to her order, and then typically issues the amendment prior to the implementation date. So I would expect that to come forward soon. And with that, any questions related to our COVID-19 response?
Through the mayor?
Yep.
Just, this is a question I get hit up with a lot, is when might the public be allowed to come back and attend our council meetings? Any thoughts?
Yes, we have been discussing that, and we're waiting for the state to increase the size of gatherings that's allowed. So even though church services are allowed to have up to 100 people, there's guidance related to protests. There's still a limitation of no more than 10 for gatherings. And so once the state increases that limitation in terms of the number of people for gatherings, then we would evaluate at that point in time reopening not only the city council meetings to the public, keeping in mind any recommendations that come forward from Dr. Liu, but also reopening city facilities to those organizations that utilize facilities for their meetings.
Is there, I know that we've talked about how the state sort of shifted into opening sectors rather than just gatherings. Are, I guess, public meetings a sector, or are we waiting for the 50-person gathering, I guess?
Yes.
Edict?
So last Wednesday on a phone call with Dr. Liu, the question was asked in terms of, will the state still just continue to issue guidance, or at some point will they address the gatherings limitation? Dr. Liu stated that the local health officers have been working with Dr. Angel of the state to encourage Dr. Angel to modify the gathering restrictions because of the contradiction between church services, the amount of people allowed for protests, yet you can't have more than 10 people in a gathering. And so it was Dr. Liu's thought at the time that there would be guidance that comes forward or modification of that gathering restriction, hopefully in the near term.
Thank you.
Through the mayor, just one of the questions that been asked lately is on the increase of these new COVID-19 cases and a recent death. Can you expand a little bit more on this, the meeting that you had last Wednesday that gave some insight on this too?
Yeah, I don't have any information related to the recent death. Our next phone call with Dr. Liu is tomorrow morning. But as of last Wednesday, we had about 25 new cases in a 2-week period. What her response was is there's a couple of things that are factoring into that. Number one being there are some family clusters which are impacting the numbers, and that there's cases within households. The other thing is that for businesses that have been able to continue to operate even during the shutdown, that as other businesses that are coming online have an awareness of the safety protocols, some of those businesses may not have the same awareness of the safety protocols for their employees and their patrons. And so it's important to educate those businesses in terms of having self-evaluations for their employees, encouraging employees to stay home if they have any symptoms, and really adhering to the recommendations of the order.
Okay, thank you.
If, Councilwoman, I might add that participating in that same phone call, I know one of the criteria that Dr. Liu pays a close attention to, and one that she mentioned to us on the call, was the number of hospitalized patients. And if I remember correctly, I believe her number that she was most concerned about was if that number rose to around 20. So at 5, I just looked at the listing a little while ago, I don't think it's raised its level to high concern for her, but as you've probably read, the incidence of more confirmed cases does raise the issue of making sure people follow the social distancing and the other guidelines that have been put forth.
Thanks, Vice Mayor. I'm glad that you added that because that's the other piece of the puzzle to all of this health safety measures. And I know, I try to do social distancing as much as I can, wearing the mask, washing your hands. It's a challenge on all of us, but I think that the more that it just becomes a second nature, the better it's going to be for all of us around. And I really would love that these recreational programs that we're going to open up, in all of these other areas would be very, I guess it would be an advantage for us to make sure that we practice these measures. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
No public comment on the item?
Yes, we have a presentation from Lisa Rojas Pallado and other members from the Grassroots Organization of Equity for Yuba City.
So this is under public committee. This is under item number 3.
Right.
But nothing on number 2?
No.
Okay. So, all right.
Actually, back up on that. We did receive one just a moment ago from Thomas Burns, and he believes that the governor is a tyrant and operating out of his lawful rights enumerated by the California and U.S. Constitution. The response to the flu virus called corona has been over the top and bordering on ridiculous. The shutting down of certain businesses is outrageous. The class warfare program of designating some people and/or businesses as essential and non-essential is un-American and unhumane. The program is totally outrageous. Is Dr. Liu the new county dictator? Where does the Bill of Rights fit into this totalitarian escapade?
Okay, so just the one?